Sirens have been around for centuries, first appearing in Greek mythology. They were creatures that would lure sailors to their deaths with their enchanting singing voices. In more recent years, sirens have become synonymous with emergency vehicles like ambulances, police cars, and fire trucks. Despite their long history, there is still much we don't know about sirens. In this video, we will explore some of the myths and realities about sirens, and how they became these intriguing creatures. This story begins with the union of Melpomene, one of the 9 muses, and the Aeolus, the chief river god of Greece. In some stories, the 9 muses are referred to as water nymphs. It was said that the winged horse Pegasus touched his hooves to the ground on Helicon, causing 4 sacred springs to erupt, from which the 9 muses were born. But in this story, the 9 muses were the daughters of Zeus, the lord of the gods, and Mnemosyne, the goddess of memory. The 9 muses grow up, not on Mount Olympus with the other gods but were taken to Helicon by Apollo. They were taught art, music, literature, science, philosophy, and other great skills of old. The muses grew to become an inspiration for artists, philosophers, and individuals for creation. All ancient writers appeal to the muses at the beginning of their work. The 9 muses began their lives as nymphs that embodied whispers in the ears of those that invoked them. Each of the muses is associated with her unique form of art and knowledge. Calliope is the oldest of the muses and the muse of epic poetry and eloquence. Clio, the muse of historians. Erato, the muse of romance and romantic poetry. Euterpe, muse for music creators. Melpomene, whose name means the one who is melodious, is one of the 2 muses of the theatre. Initially, she was the muse of singing and musical harmony, but over time, she became known as the muse of tragedy. Polyhumia, the muse of lyric poetry. Thalia is one of the 2 muses of the theatre, the one who inspires comedy and poetry that evokes the natural world. Terpsichore, muse of music and ballet. And Urania, the muse of astronomy and astrology, is the youngest of the 9. Melpomene, which is the muse of tragedy and one of the muses of theatre, fell in love with the Aeolus, the chief river god of Greece, and they begat one of the most beautiful sea nymphs in all Greek mythology, who later became the ruthless Sirens. Before their transformation, these nymphs were sent to serve Demeter, the goddess of the harvest, grain, and fertility. Zeus had his way once more with the goddess Demeter. They gave birth to the beautiful Persephone. Persephone was like her mother, obsessed with nature. Persephone became a vegetation goddess. Persephone grew of age and suitors came for her hand in marriage as at 14 years of age. They all came with tempting offers to win the heart of the beautiful Persephone. Demeter was worried so many suitors were after her young daughter. Of all those who applied, she was especially worried about her innocent girl ending up with the crippled Hephaestus, so she went to see the astrologer, Astraeus, who was the son of the Titans Creos and Eurybia. After hearing of Persephone's predicament, Astraeus considered Persephone's time of birth and the alignment of the planets. After his consideration, he told Demeter that she needed to beware that her daughter's husband would steal the girl, but not before another would steal her virginity. Demeter then connives a plan to protect her daughter. She gathered her up in her chariot and fled to Sicily. She found a cave and hid Persephone away. She spent her days there weaving as Athena had taught her. Demeter left Dracons at the entrance to watch over her daughter while she returned to her duties tending the agriculture of the world. Persephone, in the meantime, took to her work without care. Little did she know that she was unable to escape the lustful eyes of the one god her mother feared the least. Zeus, Persephone's father, was unable to control his growing emotion for his daughter. He watched her as she worked at her spinning wheel. When she finally took a break to wash the sweat from her body at a nearby stream, Zeus was watching. He watched her undress and splash around in the water. He could not help himself. He took the form of one of the Dracons Demeter had left to protect their daughter and, after putting Persephone to sleep, had his way with her. From this point of encounter with her father, Persephone gave birth to a son named Zagreus. The infant boy, born with the horns of the Dracon, was quickly taken to Zeus's throne. He was so powerful that even as a newborn, he was able to send lightning bolts from his tiny fingers. As with the other children her husband sired outside of their bed, Hera, Zeus's wife, was furious. Not only had her husband fathered another unlawful child, this time it was with his daughter. Not only that, but he had the nerve to bring the child home and sit him on his throne. Out of spite, she allowed the Titans, having not yet been overthrown, into the throne room to see the baby. There they conned the little one into trading his lightning bolts for toys. Once he was venerable, they tore the baby up and sliced him to pieces. When the Titans were gone, Athena collected the heart of tiny Zagreus and took it to her father, Zeus. He took all that remained of his beloved son and swirled it into a potion. He then descended to earth and found his latest love interest, the Theban princess Semele. Upon drinking the potion from her lover, she became pregnant with Dionysus. A part of Astraeus's prediction had come true. Persephone's virginity had been taken by a monster, but Demeter was still afraid that her daughter would be stolen from her. So for additional security she assigned the nymphs to accompany her daughter Persephone. She also continued to hide the girl away from the other gods. The goddess tried to watch over her child as best she could, but she had to continue working. One day, while Demeter was gone, Persephone was left to play with the other maiden goddesses Athena and Artemis, as well as the nymph daughters of Aeschylus, one of the sea gods, and Melpomene, the muse of tragedy. No one expected what would happen next. Persephone spotted the rare narcissus flower and wandered from her playmates to collect it for herself. It was not a mere accident that the narcissus flower was there for Persephone to see, as Zeus had placed the delicate flower there at the request of his brother Hades. Hades, the god of the underworld, had also been struck by the arrow of Eros and was in love with the fair Persephone. Knowing he had to marry his Persephone off in order to appease his wife Hera, Zeus decided that making her a queen, albeit a queen of the underworld, was the greatest honor he could provide for her. He agreed to her marriage to Hades, but they both knew that their sister Demeter would object. It was decided between the brothers that Hades would abduct the girl and bring her to his realm. Once Persephone was separated from the other girls, Hades divided the earth in two and drove his chariot, pulled by his immortal horses of death, into the upper world. He quickly grabbed Persephone before either Athena or Artemis could move to protect her. Persephone cried out for help, but her father Zeus, being involved in the kidnapping, did nothing to protect her. The young goddess Hecate heard the screaming and appeared from her cave to witness Hades riding off with the girl. Helios, the titan of the sun who had not yet retired his post to the younger Apollo, had also witnessed the abduction. Persephone did not stop her cries for help as long as the sunlight was upon her face, and just before Hades swooped with her to the underworld, her mother heard her cries. Demeter instantly returned to the fields where she left her daughter, but Persephone was gone. The goddess cried out in fury that the second part of the prophecy had now come true. She transferred that anger and rage at the nymphs who were proposed to accompany her daughter. She transformed them into what we now call the Sirens. Possessing the upper body of a woman and the lower body of a fish, they were given wings to aid their search of their mistress Persephone, eternally calling for their mistress. These sirens became the terrifying creatures we now speak of. They were featured in so many Greek myths, and are spoken of till date. Sirens are fascinating creatures that have captivated humans for centuries. Well, this channel provides a variety of videos on sirens and other mystical creatures, from history to entertainment. If you're interested in learning more about these mythical creatures, be sure to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell to get notified on our future videos.